In a world that constantly bombards us with stimuli and challenges, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters: our mental and emotional well-being. The mental habits we cultivate can be allies or enemies in our pursuit of balance and energy. In this guide, we will explore 10 mental habits that destroy your energy and how you can free yourself from them through Buddhist teachings. From negativity and complaining to a lack of self-expression, each of these habits can drain our vitality and hinder our personal growth. However, with awareness and practice, it is possible to transform these harmful patterns into opportunities for self-discovery and empowerment. Join us on this journey toward a clearer mind and a more vibrant spirit, where we will learn to leave behind what holds us back and embrace the power of mindfulness and acceptance. It's time to learn how to face life's difficulties with more clarity and balance. It's time to begin a journey toward inner strength and self-confidence. So eliminate any distractions from your environment. Grab a notebook and a pen to take notes and get ready to face each day with more optimism and determination after watching this video. But before we start, make sure to like this video and subscribe with the notification bell on to stay updated on future videos. Let's begin. Habit number 1. Trying to control everything around you. Trying to control everything is like juggling too many balls. It's exhausting, and eventually we might drop them all. This habit weakens our minds because it puts us in a state of frustration and disappointment. It's like trying to catch the wind, impossible and increasingly frustrating. Zen Buddhist teachings guide us to understand why this habit weakens our mind and how we can find strength in the paradox of letting go of control. In Buddhism, the concept of detachment teaches us to free ourselves from the illusion of control. It's like understanding that we can't stop the clouds. They are always changing and moving. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing the limits of our influence. It's like planting seeds in a garden. We care for them, but we can't control the weather. The weather may bring rain or sunshine, but our job is to tend the garden with care. When we accept that some things are beyond our control, we free ourselves from constant struggle. To overcome the habit of trying to control everything, mindfulness becomes our ally. It's like a steady anchor that keeps us grounded in the present. By focusing on what we can influence and letting go of everything else, we navigate the seas of uncertainty with grace and resilience. Buddhism encourages us to embrace the paradox that letting go of control leads to true strength. It's like realizing that by loosening our grip, we gain the strength to face life's challenges. When we release the need for control, it's as if we open our hands to receive what life has to offer instead of stubbornly holding on to our preconceived ideas. Incorporating these teachings into our lives encourages us to free ourselves from the burden of trying to control everything around us. By letting go of the illusion of control, we paradoxically find a strength within, similar to a sail that captures the wind and propels us forward with a sense of freedom. Freeing ourselves from the habit of micromanaging every aspect of life reveals a strength that comes from accepting the flow of existence. Habit number 2, clinging to the past. Clinging to the past is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with old things. It slows us down and makes the journey harder. This habit weakens our minds because it keeps us anchored to what has already happened, preventing us from fully enjoying the present or looking toward the future. It's like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rear-view mirror. We might miss what's right in front of us. Buddhist teachings help us understand why holding on to the past weakens our mind and how we can free ourselves from these chains. In Buddhism, mindfulness practice teaches us to be present in the here and now. It's like opening the windows to let fresh air in. When our awareness is trapped in what has already passed, it's like trying to walk backward. We may stumble and lose our way. By letting go of the past, we create space for new experiences and opportunities. Clinging to the past also ties us to old wounds and resentments, like keeping a bandage on a wound long after it has healed. This prevents us from experiencing life fully. Buddhism encourages us to practice forgiveness, not only toward others but also toward ourselves. Forgiveness is like opening a door to release the past, allowing us to step into the present without unnecessary burdens. Buddhist teachings on impermanence remind us that everything in life changes. It's like watching a flowing river, where the water is never the same. When we hold on to the past, it's like trying to freeze a moving river. It stops flowing and slowly loses its vitality. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, we free ourselves from the chains that bind us to past experiences. To overcome the habit of clinging to the past, self-compassion is key. It's like offering a kind word to a friend in need. By treating ourselves with compassion and understanding, we free ourselves from the chains of resentment and guilt that we may have carried. The past becomes a teacher, not a jailer. Incorporating these teachings into our lives gives us the strength to free ourselves from the chains that bind us to our past. Through mindfulness, forgiveness, and self-compassion, we create a path toward personal liberation. Freeing ourselves from the habit of holding on to the past allows us to enter the present with lightness, openness, and the readiness to embrace the unfolding moments of our lives. Habit number 3, worrying about what others say and do. Worrying about what others say and do is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with other people's thoughts, which burdens our minds and hinders our authenticity. This habit weakens us because it links our sense of self-esteem to external opinions. It's like navigating a boat that sways with every wave that passes. Buddhist teachings offer perspective on why this habit weakens our minds and how we can free ourselves from the chains of constant judgment. In Buddhism, the practice of equanimity encourages us to remain balanced in the face of changing tides of praise and criticism. It's like standing on solid ground while the winds of opinions blow. No matter what they are, we remain stable. When we excessively worry about what others say, it's as if we're building our house on unstable ground with poor quality materials, making it vulnerable to any storm that passes by. By cultivating balance, we develop resilience against external judgments. Judging ourselves based on others' opinions is like allowing someone else to hold our mirror. We see ourselves through others' eyes instead of our own. Buddhism also teaches us the value of self-acceptance and authenticity. It's like wearing our favorite clothes instead of trying to fit into someone else's closet. To authentically express who we are, we must free ourselves from the need for constant validation, liberating us from the limitations imposed by others' expectations. Mindfulness, a central theme in Buddhism, helps us become aware of our thoughts and reactions. When we worry about what others say, it's as if we're lost in a maze of opinions. Mindfulness acts as a guiding light, helping us find our way back to our true selves. By being in the present moment, we can observe these worries without getting trapped in them. To overcome the habit of worrying about others' opinions, cultivating self-love is key. It's like planting seeds of kindness within ourselves that then bloom into a garden of acceptance. By recognizing our inner worth and embracing our unique traits, we build a shield that protects us from the arrows of external judgments. Incorporating these teachings into our lives will free us from the mental weakness associated with worrying about what others say and do. Through the practice of equanimity, acceptance of authenticity, and cultivation of self-love, we free ourselves from the chains that bind us to external opinions. By liberating ourselves from the habit of constant judgment, we can chart our own course, moving toward a life guided by inner strength and authenticity. By integrating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom into the fabric of our daily lives, we can overcome negative patterns and develop lasting mental strength. This exploration is an invitation to embark on a transformative journey by integrating the profound teachings of Buddhism into the fabric of our existence. Habit number 4, lack of time for personal relationships. How many times do we neglect our personal relationships, failing to find time for our loved ones? It's like having a garden without watering the plants. Over time, everything wilts. This habit weakens our minds because as social beings we need meaningful connections that provide us with joy and support. It's like trying to navigate a boat without wind. We can move, but it's a slow and lonely journey. Buddhist teachings help us understand why neglecting personal relationships weakens our minds and how we can cultivate stronger bonds. By dedicating our valuable time, neglecting personal relationships is like closing the doors of a warm and welcoming home. We lose the comfort and support that only relationships with others can provide. If we want to effectively overcome this habit, we must start being present. Presence in a relationship is like a ray of sunshine that allows it to flourish. By spending quality time with our loved ones, we build stronger bonds. Strengthening relationships is like regularly watering the plants. We need to not only water them but also focus on how we do it. Communication is a key element in nurturing strong connections. It's like the wind filling the sails of the boat, propelling us forward. Dedicating time to listen and share our thoughts and feelings is like the water that keeps our garden of relationships alive. Buddhism encourages us to recognize the impermanence of life and the limited time we have to spend with our loved ones. It's like enjoying a delicious meal. We appreciate it more when we know it won't last forever. Understanding the inevitability of change motivates us to prioritize relationships and invest our valuable time in those we love. Incorporating these teachings into our lives reminds us that personal relationships are like threads that sew the fabric of well-being. By dedicating time to our loved ones, we cultivate a support system that strengthens our minds and enriches our lives. By freeing ourselves from the habit of neglecting personal relationships, we can lead a more fulfilling life with friends by our side, making our journey more joyful and satisfying. Through openness and communication, we develop understanding and deepen our bonds with others. Habit number 5, letting your emotions control you. Let's think of this as being swept away by a strong current in a river. We lose control and direction, unable to do anything about it. The same happens when we allow emotions to control us. This habit weakens our minds because emotions, if not properly managed, can become overwhelming and destabilizing. Fortunately, Buddhist teachings show us why this habit weakens our minds and how we can develop our emotional intelligence to navigate our feelings with stability. In Buddhism, mindfulness is a powerful practice that encourages us to observe our emotions without being carried away by them, like standing on the riverbank and watching its current. We can observe our emotions without diving into them. When we let our emotions control us, it's like being caught in a storm without an anchor. We are swept away, making it hard to find the right path. Emotional intelligence involves recognizing, understanding, and managing our own emotions, as well as empathizing with the emotions of others. It's like having a compass in the midst of a storm that helps us navigate through challenges and maintain a steady course. Habit number 6. Blaming others for your problems. Blaming others for your problems is like trying to run with a backpack full of stones. This practice weighs us down and slows our progress and development. Think about how this works. When we blame others, we relinquish control over our own lives. It's like handing the steering wheel of our life to someone else instead of driving it ourselves. Buddhist teachings help us understand why this habit weakens our minds and how we can free ourselves from it. In Buddhism, we are taught to take responsibility for our actions and emotions. This is like recognizing that while we may not always control external circumstances, we can always control our reaction to them. By taking responsibility for our own experiences, we regain control of our lives. This process involves deep self-observation and reflection. The practice of mindfulness helps us see our own mistakes and limitations clearly without projecting them onto others. When we stop blaming others, it's like removing the stones from our backpack, allowing us to move forward with greater ease. Buddhism encourages us to practice self-acceptance and self-care. understanding that our difficulties are also opportunities for growth. By taking responsibility, we cultivate a proactive and resilient mindset. Incorporating these teachings into our lives allows us to free ourselves from the habit of blaming others. Instead of carrying the backpack of guilt, we become the conscious drivers of our lives, making decisions based on clarity and self-acceptance. This shift in perspective helps us navigate life's challenges with greater strength and inner resilience, promoting our well-being and personal development. In Buddhism, there is the concept of karma, which teaches us that our actions have consequences. Blaming others is like ignoring this law. It's a denial that we play a role in our own lives. Taking personal responsibility involves understanding that we have the ability to shape our experiences. It's like being the captain of our own ship. Along the way, we will encounter storms and tempests, but we are capable of navigating through them. By accepting that our actions have meaning, we allow ourselves to make positive decisions. One of the key things to overcoming the habit of blaming others is forgiveness. Forgiving does not mean that what others did is acceptable. It's about freeing ourselves from the weight of holding on to resentment. It's like taking off a heavy backpack. We feel lighter and freer. Imagine a situation where you find out that your friend is speaking ill of you behind your back. It's not a pleasant feeling, and it naturally provokes anger, leading you to want to seek revenge. Before doing so, ask yourself 2 questions and reflect on them. Will what I'm about to do improve my life in any way? Will others respect me more if I speak ill of someone in their absence? Forgiving others and oneself is a powerful step toward reclaiming our personal responsibility. Mindfulness, a fundamental practice in Buddhism, helps us become aware of our thoughts and actions. It's like shining a flashlight in the dark. We can clearly see what is in front of us. By being attentive, we can realize when we want to blame others for what happens and consciously choose a more constructive response. Habit number 7, stopping self-expression. Stopping self-expression is like hiding a treasure that we don't share with anyone else. This habit weakens our minds because it prevents us from sharing our thoughts, feelings, and ideas with the world. It's like trying to move in a dark room without turning on the light. Everything becomes confusing and overwhelming. Zen Buddhist teachings show us why this habit weakens our minds and how we can free ourselves from its limitations. In Zen Buddhism, self-expression is considered key to building a solid foundation of mental health. Repressing our thoughts and emotions can be compared to keeping a bottle of soda closed. The pressure gradually builds until there may be an explosion. This explosion can manifest in stressful situations, anxiety, or feelings of overwhelm because we haven't released what was hidden within us. Perhaps you've had moments when you felt something was tearing you apart from the inside. Maybe you acted unpleasantly towards others, or immersed yourself in solitude, along with negative thoughts. These are symptoms of the lack of release of your emotions. Through authentic self-expression, the practice encourages us to communicate with truth, kindness, and mindfulness. It's like planting seeds of positivity. When we express ourselves, our words grow like a garden full of understanding and transmit that to others. By tailoring our words to these principles, we build a bridge between ourselves and others, fostering the creation of authentic relationships. To overcome the habit of stopping self-expression, mindfulness becomes a valuable ally. Often in our lives, we pursue many things at the same time, thinking this will speed up the achievement of our goals and increase our productivity. However, stopping self-expression is like burying our best treasures deep in the ground. We not only lose the opportunity to enrich others, but we also weaken our own strength and well-being. Mindfulness helps us become aware of our true feelings and needs, which in turn allows for authentic self-expression and the cultivation of healthy relationships. Habit number 8, negative thinking. Negative thinking is like a dark cloud covering the bright sun of our happiness. This habit weakens our minds because it tints everything in our lives with a hue of darkness and hopelessness. The practice of Buddhism offers perspectives to understand why this habit weakens our minds and how we can free ourselves from it. In Buddhism, the importance of observing and understanding our thoughts is emphasized, without letting them control us. Negative thinking often arises from the tendency to focus on the bad instead of the positive. This can feel like being trapped in a storm that obscures our view of the clear sky. One technique to overcome negative thinking is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us observe our thoughts from a more objective perspective, as if we are watching clouds pass through the sky rather than being swept away by them. When we practice mindfulness, we can recognize and question negative thoughts instead of allowing them to take over. Buddhism also teaches us the practice of gratitude and compassion toward ourselves. Gratitude acts as an antidote to negative thinking by helping us focus on what is good in our lives. Making a list of things we are grateful for each day can be an effective way to shift our perspective. Self-compassion is equally crucial. It's like giving ourselves a warm hug when facing difficult moments. By practicing self-compassion, we stop being so hard on ourselves and allow kindness and acceptance to replace criticism and negativity. Through the incorporation of these practices into our daily lives, we can begin to dispel the clouds of negative thinking. This allows us to see the bright sun of our inner well-being and live with a more positive and balanced perspective. Mindfulness, gratitude, and self-compassion become powerful tools to transform our mindset and strengthen our mental resilience. Habit number 9, complaining about things outside our control. Complaining about things we have no influence over is like a ship adrift with no captain on board. This habit weakens our minds because it keeps us focused on what we cannot change, generating resentment that drains our mental energy. Buddhism offers useful perspectives to understand why this habit weakens our minds and how we can free ourselves from it. According to Buddhism, one of the key concepts is the acceptance of what is outside our control. This is based on the idea that we cannot control everything that happens around us, but we can control our response to it. In the practice of mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without fully identifying with them. This allows us to see that complaining about what we cannot change only fuels our dissatisfaction, while accepting reality as it is frees us from that mental burden. Meditation also plays an important role. By meditating, we can develop greater acceptance and understanding of the impermanence and nature of our experiences. Meditation helps us focus on what we can control, our actions and attitudes, rather than lamenting what is beyond our reach. Moreover, Buddhism encourages us to cultivate an attitude of gratitude and compassion. Being thankful for what we have and acting with compassion toward ourselves and others helps us focus our energy on positive aspects rather than on complaints. Understanding the impermanence of things teaches us that nothing lasts forever, including challenges and difficulties. By accepting that some things are outside our control, we can concentrate on what we can change and improve our way of reacting to adverse situations. Incorporating these teachings into our daily lives helps us free ourselves from the habit of complaining about what we cannot control, allowing us to move forward with greater mental peace and effectiveness in the aspects of our lives that we can influence. Habit number 10, fantasizing instead of visualizing. Fantasizing is like building castles in the air. They may be beautiful but lack a solid foundation. This habit weakens our minds because it separates us from the reality of the present moment. It's like chasing a shadow that always slips out of our reach. The teachings of Buddhism offer insight into what weakens our minds in this habit and how we can transform fantasy into visualization, which will strengthen our positive focus. Fantasies often include unrealistic scenarios and desires, such as hoping money grows on trees. It's an appealing idea, but unfortunately not based in reality. This habit weakens us because it can lead to disappointment when reality doesn't match our imagined scenarios. On the other hand, visualization involves creating mental images of achievable goals. It's like having a treasure map to reach our aspirations. We can chart a course toward them. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of right intention and right action, aligning the visualization of positive outcomes with practical steps toward achieving them. By rooting our aspirations in reality, the bridge between dreams and achievable goals becomes more accessible. The teachings on impermanence in Buddhism remind us that change is an integral part of our lives. Fantasies often stem from clinging to a fixed conception of the future, while visualization adapts to life's ever-changing landscape. Thank you for joining me in this discussion about the practice of mindfulness and acceptance in our daily lives. True transformation begins with ourselves, and each small step brings us closer to greater harmony and inner peace. And to start practicing mindfulness and acceptance, consider taking these steps. Dedicate a few minutes to meditation each morning. Start with short sessions of 5 to 10 minutes, focusing on your breath and the present moment. This practice will help you develop greater awareness and inner calm. Be aware of your thoughts and emotions in difficult moments. Observe without judgment and choose to respond with calm and reflection instead of reacting impulsively. Incorporate acceptance into your relationships with others. Instead of criticizing or judging, try to understand the perspectives of others and seek common ground. Incorporate realistic visualization into your goals. Define your objectives concretely and take practical steps toward their achievement. Ask yourself what specific steps you will take today to practice mindfulness and acceptance in your daily life. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below so we can support one another on this journey of personal growth. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to keep up with our latest content. If you've reached the end of this reflection, please share in the comments. I'm ready to begin my mindfulness journey. Until next time, dear friends.